Cop Out is a buddy cop movie, kind of based on a lot of what we saw in the 80s. It stars Bruce Willis, who did cop movies in the 80s, and Tracy Morgan, who did not, because he was a bit young, probably. Directed by Kevin Smith, which they haven't really promoted a lot of, and may come as a surprise to some people, and Kevin Smith fans may or may not like this movie. So the movie's about a couple of policemen that have been partners for 9 years, and they get suspended for messing up a bust. And because they're suspended, Bruce Willis is worried about how he's going to pay for his daughter's wedding, and so he decides to sell a baseball card, which gets stolen, and it becomes this somewhat farcical story about whether or not they can find the baseball card. There's a drug dealer involved, and he wants to make a trade, and that's it. You know, and it's the movie, it's the 80s cop movie cliche-orama.
Now, I'm going to start with a question for you guys right off the bat. Maybe I'm a little dense. And by the way, so everybody knows, Kevin Smith didn't write the movie, which is unusual for him, right? So, is this like Scary Movie? Is this, I mean, it's supposed to be a send-up of 48 Hours and Beverly Hills Cop and all of those movies, right? Or is it supposed to be just one of those movies? Christy, what do you think?
It is an homage. To use a word they use a lot in Cop Out, homage, as Tracy Morgan uses it.
The homage.
Yeah,
the homage.
You have to pronounce the H. It's a
homage.
homage.
Like The Hobbit. No, it's an homage. It's not like an over-the-top kind of parody like Date Movie, where there's just ridiculous, like, scatological and physical humor, whatever. But it's a lot of geekery, a lot of, like, 80s movie geekery that... Again, like there's a Harold Faltermeyer score, the guy who did Axel F, the guy who did the Fletch score. And so if you love these 80s buddy cop movies, you're going to go, oh yeah, Harold Faltermeyer.
Right, to the point that Tracy Morgan will say which movies he's doing lines from.
And that's actually a problem. Yeah, there's a whole scene in the beginning where he's like shaking down some guy in the interrogation room, and he's quoting like Scarface and Heat, but instead of giving us the benefit of the doubt of knowing, okay, we probably know these references, Bruce Willis is there going, now you're just doing Al Pacino and Heat. Like, that's how dumb the movie is. It bangs you over the head with its own references.
Uh-oh, I sense somebody who didn't buy the movie is that much. All right, look, let me just say first, it's both surprising and unsurprising, okay, from my point of view. Number one, it's unsurprising in that it is exactly what you think it is. Okay, there's an older cop and a younger cop, a black cop and a white cop, and one of them is, you know, oh, I can't take this shit anymore.
Right. It's what Roger Ebert calls the one's-a movie, right? One's of this, one's of that.
Right. And then I was like, I'm waiting for the captain that gets angry at them and starts yelling at them, and I'm like, oh no, don't do it, and he does it, right? So, but they're doing it on purpose, in an homage, if you will, right? So, but what surprised me, Christy, and I think you're going to disagree with this, is that I didn't think, I was expecting it to be the worst movie of the year, and I don't think it was. But there's some chance you thought it was.
No. I see a lot of movies. This is not the worst. Tooth Fairy is worse than this. When in Rome is worse than this. There are some funny moments here and there. Tracy Morgan just showing up and being Tracy Morgan is entertaining. But what's weird about this movie is it is like simultaneously lazy and frantic. Like the entire script is just a bunch of pop culture references, whatever, and they're just selling it so hard. They are working so hard to make those jokes funny, and they're not.
But Matt, you didn't mind it, did you?
You know, I didn't mind it. It's one of those things that, you know, I don't regret going to see it. I thought it was funny. I was laughing. You guys probably heard me. I was laughing in the theater. I thought it was, and again, a lot of that is Tracy Morgan. A lot of it is Bruce Willis kind of having that winking style to him. And really, in the right role, even if he's kind of phoning it in a movie like this, it's Bruce Willis kind of being Bruce Willis, and that's fun. If you're going to see a movie that's kind of trying to be a cop movie and an action movie while still kind of making fun of those movies, the better movie to see is Hot Fuzz, and this is no Hot Fuzz.
I love Hot Fuzz.
And Hot Fuzz is a
so
great
funny.
movie.
But it has a more dry British wit to it, which makes it funny and charming and not like banging you over the head with, hey, we're funny, come laugh at us.
Right, and I know I keep quoting other critics. This one, to me, fails what I think it was Gene Siskel would say, you know, is this movie better? Would this movie be any better than watching these actors sitting around having dinner? And I don't know. It's right on the border with me. I mean, Seann William Scott is kind of funny, although weird in this movie. You know, Guillermo Diaz, who is getting a little hefty in his old age, who I think is funny. You know, it's got a great cast. Kevin Pollak, who I know you know and have had fun with. But it's okay. It's not terrible,
Right.
but it's not memorable. And I guess that's, to me, I guess I'm damning it with faint praise. It's a throwaway movie. In a year from now, you're like, oh right, those guys did Hot Fuzz. I mean, those guys did
Cop Out.
Cop Out,
Yeah.
right?
You're already forgetting.
I've already forgotten it. I've already forgotten it.
All right, now I'm sitting between these two, and I could sense I'm trying not to get influenced, right? Matt's laughing, right, and Christy's like, right? And I'm trying not to get influenced, and now I'm also influenced by my own bias because I'm thinking this is going to be the worst. I went in thinking that why do we have to watch this movie, right? But I was surprised. I didn't hate it, and I thought there were funny parts. Tracy Morgan is way over the top, but there was a little of, I lost my leg in Vietnam, and I was like, all right, okay, I kind of like this. So you know what? I wound up giving it, a 5.8, which is pretty high. It's much higher. Like, to give you a sense of the ratings, under 5, and I would say just don't waste your time seeing it, right? Between 5 and 6, it's on HBO or you get a DVD, it's not going to hurt you. For me, 8 is a movie you should see, 9 is awesome, etc. So at a 5.8, I'm surprised that I'm above 5, and I'm liking it. But I like Tracy Morgan a lot. I thought Bruce Willis was less over the top than he can be. But I thought Sean William Scott was awesome. I thought he was almost worth watching the whole movie for. I know he was really weird, but he was supposed to be really weird.
Right.
I thought he stole the movie.
It's a totally annoying shtick he's doing the whole way through, where he is like repeating whatever everybody else is saying to him. Like, I know you are, but what am I? I know. Stop talking. Stop talking.
Right.
And it's
like
okay.
he's being Pee Wee Herman.
Right. They do it once. That's maybe funny. They do it like 18 times in this movie, and it's ridiculous.
No, sometimes repetitive humor takes a while. Like, it's funny the first time, not funny the second or the third time. But the 8th and 9th time, it comes back to being funny.
8th and 9th time. We need 8 and 9 times.
That's my
Because we're
sentiment.
dumb. There you go.
So how much did you hate it by that?
Numerically, how much did I hate
Yes.
it? I'm giving it a 1.5. It gets a 0.5 from me because of Tracy Morgan. I laughed at a couple things here and there. There's a couple of little Fletch references that I found amusing, whatever. You mentioned that this is a rare thing for Kevin Smith to direct someone else's script. It's actually the first time he directed somebody else's script. And it's very Kevin Smithy, though, at the same time. It's totally profane. It's talky. Jason Lee is in it.
Right.
A lot of movie geek references. But still, I don't think Kevin Smith fans are going to like this very much either.
I love how Tracy Morgan is pretty good. He gets a 0.5 addition to the score of 1. And you want to talk about damning with faint praise.
See, I'm giving it probably the highest score out of the group, although not much higher than yours. I'm giving it a 6. I think it was an okay movie. I would rather have seen Kevin Smith direct something he wrote. I feel like Kevin Smith could do better with action sequences. I felt like the action, what little action there was, wasn't really that exciting. But it's okay. And part of that is, in looking at the other movies that are out right now, it'd be all right. If you're a Kevin Smith fan, if you like Tracy Morgan, if you like Bruce Willis, you won't be that disappointed.
Yeah, I love that. That's the conclusion is.
There's your blurb.
Yeah, exactly. You won't be that disappointed.
If you like these guys, this is what you'll like.
So what's our average here? Let's take a look at the average. It appears to be a 4.4 because Christy brought it way down.
I dragged it down, and I'll
dragged it
do
down.
it again if I have to.
Dragged it down below the 5.
Gleefully.
Magical 5.